We are in the midst of the worst pandemic in 102 years.
Why do you think that you are the target of so many accusations about covering up the source of COVID-19?
I don't know what they're talking about covering up. I have been totally transparent.
We did not fund gain-of-function research in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Anyway, so let me just go on about NIH funding gain-of-function research.
Through EcoHealth to the Wuhan Institute.
Research to create enhanced potential pandemic pathogens.
Some of these viruses will be killers.
The NIH categorically has not funded gain-of-function research in the Wuhan Institute.
NIH admits funding risky virus research in Wuhan.
It is not gain of function.
Then why was he using the phrase gain of function to describe this work months earlier in that email?
I mean, we're an open book. I mean, we have been all along.
Then why was the email inexplicably redacted?
Did NIH fund gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology through EcoHealth?
Yes, we did.
Dr. Fauci, could you address these concerns that this virus was somehow man-made?
There was a study recently where a highly qualified evolutionary virologist looked at the sequences there.
Dr. Fauci gets an email from Dr. Anderson which says, virus looks engineered, virus not consistent with evolutionary theory. Dr. Gary sends Dr. Fauci another email that says, I don't know how this happens in nature, but it would be easy to do in a lab. 3 days later, they changed their position 180 degrees. When the only intervening event is a conference call with Dr. Fauci, and then 3 months later, they get $9 million from Dr. Fauci.
And I'm not sure what they're talking about when they say cover up.
Is totally consistent with a jump of a species from an animal to a human.
Why did you dismiss the lab leak theory?
I didn't dismiss anything. I just said
I've heard these conspiracy theories, and like all conspiracy theories, they're just conspiracy theories.
Called it conspiracy theory.
I never used that word.
It's conspiracy theories.
What is your response questions about the Chinese lab in Wuhan?
You know, we always keep an open mind, but you know, you could continue to pursue and tweet conspiracy theories, but let's look at the science.
We know exactly what we can do and what we should be doing. Please wear a mask. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask.
I often myself wear 2 masks.
There's an email from you concluding, I do not recommend that you wear a mask.
Everybody should be wearing a mask when they're outside.
People should not be walking around with masks.
I wear a mask when I'm outside.
You don't need a mask when you're outside.
Wear a mask at all times when you're outside.
So even if you are vaccinated, you should wear a mask. If you are vaccinated, you do not need to wear a mask.
Dr. Fauci, thank you for your clarity.
If you wear masks, you can decrease the likelihood of transmitting or acquiring COVID-19 by 50, 60, 70, maybe 80%.
He said masks work at the margins, maybe 10%.
You're a master communicator.
Wear a mask all the time, consistently, when you're outside.
It's not like I always wear one.
Always wear a mask.
We do not recommend people wearing masks.
Children should still wear masks. At least one mask.
You don't need to be walking around with a mask.
Absolutely. We should have universal wearing of masks.
Mandating masks, yes, let's do it. If it doesn't happen nationally, then I think that the mayors and the governors should do it.
Mask mandates did nothing.
Forget the politics, look at the data.
Mask mandate states fared no better than states without mask mandates.
In hindsight, though, when you look at this, do you think the mask mandates were a mistake?
You know, Caitlin, I don't want to say a mistake, but I think we really need to remember.
This high school student ended up in handcuffs after she refused to wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
A man was removed from a SEPTA bus for not wearing a mask.
Just wear a mask.
Ohio woman tased after refusing to wear a mask.
Wear your mask.
Not wearing a mask. This is what they do to you.
Make sure you have a mask.
Where's your mask at?
Wear a mask.
Get your hand up now.
Follow the science.
The officer body slamming a woman when she refused to wear a mask.
Based purely on the science.
They were yanked out of a school board meeting after refusing to wear masks.
Wear a mask.
She's in jail over a dispute on whether or not to wear masks.
Wear a mask.
She was walking without a mask on.
Everybody should wear a mask.
She was told to wear a mask, but refused.
You gotta wear a mask.
And a mother is arrested in front of her young child.
You should be wearing a mask
Do you wear a mask when you're not on television?
Well, you know, my life is pretty different. I can say as a public health official that I would urge the leaders, the local political and other leaders in states and cities and towns to be as forceful as possible in getting your citizenry to wear masks. Be as forceful as possible.
Forced out in handcuffs.
Wear a mask.
I'm being arrested because I refuse to wear a mask.
Masks are very important.
Are you joking right now? This is America.
You should be wearing a mask.
He was tased in front of his wife and child.
Guided purely by the science.
That 66-year-old handcuffed because he didn't wear a mask.
Look at the science.
There is just no evidence that masks, make any difference, full stop. The N95 masks, surgical or cloth masks, makes no difference.
Okay, then why was I wearing a mask for so many times?
Policymakers to impose mask mandates were convinced by non-randomized, flawed observational studies.
But there's nothing to indicate that wearing a mask has deleterious effects.
It does have costs. I can't count how many parents have called me and said, look, my kid can't wear a mask. It's really hurting. Or parents telling me that their kids didn't learn how to read or have verbal problems as a result of the masking. It has costs. It absolutely has harms. And there's no evidence of it working.
Obviously, children who are older than 2 years old should be wearing a mask.
Mask mandates for children under 5.
And going back to what I said before, all of that is in the context of, at the time, 4,000 to 5,000
mask mandates for children under
people
5.
a day
There's
were
scientific
dying.
evidence for that.
Excuse me?
Mask mandates for children under 5. There's scientific evidence supporting that.
There was no study that did masks on kids before. You couldn't do the study. Children of a certain age, greater than 2 years old, should be wearing masks. No doubt about that. Children should be wearing the mask.
They were kicked off a plane because their 2-year-old wouldn't put on her mask.
Have the children have masks.
Her family was also kicked off the flight.
My son was eating French fries boarding the plane and he didn't have a mask on.
It is really not prudent to pull masks off children. When the children go out into the community, you want them to continue to wear masks.
The mom is told to get off a flight because her 2-year-old would not wear a mask.
Children should be wearing masks from 2 years old. You're dealing with science.
2-year-old with asthma thrown off a flight for not wearing a mask.
Stick with the science.
Disabled 10-year-old kicked out of the market for not wearing a mask.
Should children be wearing masks?
Yes.
A little girl suspended for not wearing her mask.
Keep everybody masked.
Police were called over the child's face mask.
Wear a mask.
If you're not wearing your mask, you will be suspended.
You really should be wearing a mask.
And the best way for me to prevent getting an infectious disease is wearing a mask.
No.
How do you do that?
You avoid all the paranoid aspects and do
Okay.
something positive. Get some exercise.
That's correct.
Get good sleep. I think that the normal, low-tech, healthy things are the best thing that you can do, David, to stay healthy.
All right, well, I'm going to try to do that.
So that was the reason for what is considered inconsistencies about recommendations of wearing masks.
CDC is advising all Americans now to wear a cloth mask. Why the change now? Because most of us have been walking around, going to the grocery store, not wearing the mask because that was the original recommendation.
Well, we have to make sure we don't forget that the most important thing is to keep this 6-foot physical distance from individuals.
However, you testified recently, and I'm quoting, this 6-foot rule sort of just appeared.
Staying 6 feet away from people.
This 6-foot rule,
staying 6 feet apart,
crippled businesses.
Maintaining 6 feet of distance.
Allowed students to stay at home and not learn.
It's so important. Maintaining distance of 6 feet or more.
Do you think that a rule that sort of just appeared is substantial justification for the regulations that we saw based on that 6-foot rule?
6 feet apart. The CDC was responsible for those kinds of guidelines, not me. I would recommend doing what the CDC, as I think appropriately and correctly said, staying 6 feet away. The perfect solution to this is if everyone stays 6 feet separated. 6 feet away. Stay 6 feet apart. 6 feet distance. 6 foot distance. 6 feet apart. 6 feet away. 6 feet away. That's our most important tool. It had little to do with me since I didn't make the recommendation. And I think we should just follow carefully the CDC recommendations.
We must abide by public health measures. The usual 6 feet apart.
Very important. 6 foot distance. Stay 6 feet apart. A 6 foot rule.
It actually came from the CDC, not me.
But I would recommend 6 feet of distance.
The 6 foot rule, the social distancing, which you said sort of just appeared.
The 6 foot rule, you know, it's almost irrelevant. Almost irrelevant. Almost irrelevant.
It's so important. The social distancing of 6 feet. 6 feet or more. 6 feet. Stay 6 feet apart. 6 feet. 6 feet apart.
The most important thing.
It's almost irrelevant.
The biggest thing.
Almost irrelevant.
The perfect solution.
Almost irrelevant.
If everyone at all times stay 6 feet separated, 6 feet, 6 feet away, 6 feet apart, at least 6 feet. The biggest thing.
The most important thing.
The perfect solution
is
the 6 foot rule. The 6 foot rule. The 6 foot rule.
There was no science behind it. There was no trial that looked at 10 versus 6 versus 3 versus not even worrying about it at all. And since there was no clinical trials going one way or the other, that's why it was accepted by the group. There was no science behind it. There was no science behind it.
And that's one of the things that's, I think, such a good thing about our system here, is that we're ruled by the science.
There was no science behind it.
You confess that you made up the COVID rules, including
I didn't hear what you
6
said.
feet social distancing.
I never said I made anything up.
You admitted that you made it up. You
I
made it
didn't
up
say
as you went.
I made it up.
What did you say?
I said that it is not based in science and it just appeared. It is not based in science and it just appeared.
If you are in science, you've got to direct what you do, what you recommend, your policies based on scientific data and evidence. And you've got to be consistent, and you've always got to be truthful to tell people what they may not like to hear.
Did you not feel an obligation for something that just sort of appeared, not to go back to the CDC and say, let's base this on what we know?
It was a CDC decision.
And you didn't feel an obligation as the lead scientist at the NIH to challenge that?
It is not appropriate to be publicly challenging a sister organization.
As the lead scientist,
it is not appropriate to be truthful.
As the lead scientist,
it is not appropriate
to tell people what they may not like to hear.
Americans now have lost their trust in science, in lead science from government because of misinformation like this on the 6 foot distance rule.
It is not appropriate to
be modest enough and humble enough to realize that you don't know everything at any given time.
This is not rocket science. We know exactly what we can do and what we should be doing.
About 100 inmates were released earlier today. It's part of an emergency rule.
The 6 foot rule.
Releasing some very violent criminals, including a cop killer out of Richmond.
6 feet away.
I don't have any choice in this. I've been ordered to do it.
Make it so that they're always 6 feet apart.
Christians were arrested for not social distancing.
6 feet or more.
All LA beaches are closed due to social distancing.
6 or more feet by at least 6 feet.
The NYPD has assigned hundreds of officers to enforce social distancing.
Physical distance, 6 feet or more.
Several businesses charged with not social distancing.
Seemingly innocent things like singing, speaking loudly, or breathing heavily.
Singing has been banned at all church services in California.
I'm so grateful for everything you've done for our country.
There was no science behind it.
Keeping 6 feet distance, 6 feet or more.
Police are arresting a dad in a park for throwing a ball to his daughter.
Stay 6 feet or more away.
The most important thing is to keep this 6 foot physical distance from individuals.
The Surgeon General was on with us just yesterday and said, my advice is that the 30-day guidelines to stay home from the federal government amount to a national stay-at-home order. Is that how you see it too? Do you agree?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at what's in those 30-day recommendations of the guidelines, that's essentially what it is.
A national stay-at-home order.
We just have to do it. People say he wants to shut down the country. Absolutely not. That's off the table.
I recommended to the president that we shut the country down.
We didn't recommend shutting everything down.
Indoor and outdoor venues where groups of people congregate should be closed.
I didn't shut down anything. We shut down
bars, restaurants, food courts, gyms.
It wasn't a profound shutting down.
A record 20.5 million Americans lost their jobs, bringing the national unemployment rate to the highest level since the Great Depression.
I didn't recommend locking anything down. We gave the strong recommendation that we really shut things down.
The COVID lockdowns and the associated policies represented the largest transfer of wealth from working people, small businesses, to large corporations than we've ever seen in the modern history of our country.
It wasn't a profound shutting down. I didn't shut down anything. We shut down
bars, restaurants, food courts, gyms, and other indoor and outdoor venues where groups of people congregate should be closed.
You had to shut down. I don't think anybody would argue with the fact that you had to shut down.
Lockdowns were not a necessary or sufficient condition to have a good outcome. Sweden had such good outcomes without the lockdowns.
I didn't shut down anything.
We made the recommendation to essentially shut things down.
You use lockdowns to get people vaccinated. When people are vaccinated, they can feel safe that they are not going to get infected.
Fauci was vaccinated and he got infected.
If you are vaccinated, you can feel safe that you will not get infected.
Fauci was vaccinated and got a second infection.
Despite the fact that I've been multiply vaccinated,
I got infected.
Vaccines prevent infection.
I got infected.
You will not get infected. Not going to get infected.
No, I got infected.
Thank you for never lying to us.
Vaccines prevent infection.
I'm living proof that it doesn't.
Vaccines prevent infection.
I love you.
I've gotten infected 3 times.
So what's the biggest misconception about you?
You know, I don't know, John. I think the misconception is that I was misleading people.
We want to get as many people vaccinated as we possibly can. Because
when you get vaccinated, you become a dead end to the virus.
Now, I got infected. And when you get infected, you're not being a dead stop.
A dead end to the virus. When you get vaccinated, you become a dead end to the virus.
Now, I got infected. And when you get infected, you're not being a dead stop.
A dead end to the virus.
You got COVID, even though you got a vaccine.
We want to get as many people vaccinated as we possibly can. Because if you get infected, you are propagating the pandemic. So if you get infected, you will infect someone else. And then ultimately you will infect someone who's vulnerable. Somebody's grandmother, grandfather, uncle who's on chemotherapy, or a child who has leukemia.
And they're going to die. They're going to die. They're going to die.
Even if you don't care that you get infected, you are part of the propagation of the outbreak. So what you are is you're part of the problem. I'm infected with COVID. So you are part of the problem. By allowing yourself to get infected, you are propagating the pandemic. Now, I got infected. By getting infected, you are propagating the outbreak. I got infected. Not only are you propagating the outbreak, but you're actually putting other people in danger.
With this incredibly dangerous virus.
Propagating a pandemic.
NIH lifts funding pause on gain-of-function research.
They're propagating the outbreak.
If you give a gain-of-function of a pathogenic virus to make it more transmissible,
you are propagating the outbreak.
Some of these viruses will be killers.
You are propagating the pandemic.
1977 H1N1 was an accidental release.
Propagating the outbreak.
We don't want to see that happen again with a virus like this.
Propagating the outbreak. I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Propagating this outbreak. When you do experiments with agents that could be dangerous to the community, you're propagating the outbreak.
Why do you think you've become so controversial? And honestly, do you think there's anything you have done that has contributed to that?
Well, I'm not so sure I could answer the latter because I can't think of anything, but I'm sure some people will.
Hold feet to the fire. Let this be the lesson that we never forget.